This may be one of the best 2B statues on the market, but there's a few things that may make you think otherwise. Hey everybody, welcome back to Figure Friday. I'm Dylan, and today we're going to be talking about Whalesong Studios 2B resin statue. This is a 1/4 scale resin statue, and it's actually a bit of a 2-for-1, so we're going to be taking a look at 2 different bodies and 2 different bases. The base this one is sitting on is 27 centimeters in diameter, and she sits about 25 centimeters tall. She's pretty solid though, and altogether the whole thing weighs about 4.6 kilograms. That's a pretty hefty statue. Now this statue retailed right around the $550 mark, and in the aftermarket nowadays you're looking at just about $500 if you can find her in decent shape. Enough with the details, let's take a look at the pose. So this statue depicts 2B kneeling down on a wooden floor, wrapped in a kimono and a blanket, holding a katana out in front of her. Very reminiscent of like an old school Japan, very traditional countryside-esque style building that she's kneeling, recreating an old scene kind of like out of a samurai movie. As mentioned, you do get 2 different bodies with this statue. One is going to be the unmasked version that has a chest wrap, and the other one has the blindfold on that you'd normally see 2B with, but she doesn't have a chest wrap on and she has a big old back tattoo instead. For this review, we're going to focus mainly on the unmasked version and keep this a little bit more family friendly. The resin base comes with a few decorative pieces and accessories depicting sort of like a tea room ceremony. You have a cup and a kettle, as well as a vase with some flowers in it. For the statue herself, she does come with the traditional style underwear as well as a towel draped across her lap. The other base is actually like a fur rug that you can set her on. I love when statue companies do this because you get to choose which type of base you want to display her on. Maybe you have a glass shelf that can't hold the weight of a resin base, so you use that fur rug instead. Or you can display both in 2 different scenes depending on what works best for your collection. Now Whalesong is known for doing really good sculpts, and this is no exception. The realistic face on this 2B is really well done. The unmasked version does have a bit of a 1,000-yard stare. She doesn't really look like she's looking at anything. I think that could have been easily fixed if she was looking more over her shoulder or maybe looking down. That's a small nitpick, but it is something to note when you're looking at this statue. Other than that, I think it looks really well put together. The body's nice and accurate, the proportions are really well done, and the realistic face sculpt is great. Now she might be slightly underscaled for a 1/4 scale statue. If you compare her to some of the other ones, I think she's just a little bit small. Plus having her kneel down on the base doesn't help, it makes her look even smaller. It is technically 1/4 scale. If you look this up, oftentimes you'll see this listed as 1/6 scale. That's not exactly right. 1/4 scale is more accurate for sure. She's just a little bit underscaled. I think they did a really good job on the hair, making it pieced out without overly realistic. It still holds a sort of anime-esque vibe to it. I love the kimono draping down her back, as well as hanging over the edge of the base. That's really cool. I do think the statue has more of a peaceful vibe. It's got kind of an old school Japanese countryside ambiance, and it really adds to that scene. Now the paint is really what brings this statue to life. I love the pink showing through on her skin and on her face. The kimono is really intricately painted with all of the flowers, as well as the design on the towel on her lap. It really wraps it together in a nice package. I will say there's a little bit of skin tone showing through on her hair. I don't know if this is a quality control issue, but it is on mine. You can definitely see there's some almost undertones of pink coming through. This may not be an issue for yours, but I noticed it on mine. Just something to keep in mind if you're looking to get this for yourself. Now the back tattoos on the second body are a really big selling point for this statue. I will say though, since it is on her back, you have to display this facing the other direction if you want to see the tattoos, which is kind of a bummer if that's what you're wanting to look at. And if you want to display the version with no wrap, you can't actually do that without hiding the back tattoos. So you have to kind of pick and choose which one you want to look at. Now before we go over some of the dislikes of this statue, please take a second to like this video. It is completely free and it helps the channel way more than you may think. Alright, say it with me, no statue's perfect. Let's go over some of the dislikes for this statue. One of my biggest complaints about these statues here is that the body and the head are actually all one piece. Normally, it's nice not to have seams, but in this case, you can't swap the heads around to have the masked and unmasked version on the different bodies. It's either one or the other. I also don't like that she's holding just a generic katana, especially when she has a katana in this game. They should have just made that the virtuous contract katana that she normally carries, the white one. That would have added a lot and really brought this together kind of with the Nier Automata game itself. I think that would have been an easy change that they could have made to make this even one step cooler. Now my statue has an issue where the towel doesn't sit all the way down on her legs. I don't know if that's quality control or if that's just how the statues are, but I don't really want to force it because I feel like I'm going to break the towel in half. The sculpt on the kimono is really cool and it hangs off the edge of the statue, but it kind of stinks when you're using the fur base because you have to set that on flat ground and there's nothing for it to hang over. So those hanging points actually prop the statue up and don't allow it to sit flat on the ground. This is probably going to cause issues, and I could see where it could even break the statue if you don't have it like hanging over a ledge or something. I keep my second one up on a shelf where the kimono can actually hang over the edge of the shelf to solve that problem, but if you don't have that option, then you are kind of screwed. Last but not least, the statue just sits on this base. There's no peg or keyhole for it to slot into. So as you can see on the bottom of my statue, there's a lot of paint wear where it's just sitting and sliding around if it gets moved or bumped. And that sucks. I mean, you can't see it when it's being displayed, but nonetheless, you don't want damage to your statue in any way. And that's just something that could have been avoided by a nice key slot for it to sit into. For my wish list on this statue, I really wish you could just swap the heads and have that cooler katana. Other than that, the other problems aren't that big of a problem for me, but having more customization is never an issue, and it just allows you to display it exactly how you want. Before I forget, I want to mention that I have an affiliate link with HobbyLink Japan now, so if you are interested in buying some more anime figures for yourself, check out the link below. It doesn't add any additional cost for you, and it has a little bit of a kickback to the channel if you buy your statues through there. I've obviously got some strong opinions on this statue, but I'll let you decide for yourself. Take a look at Whalesong Studios 2B. It's becoming more and more common for studios to take characters out of their games and put them into different settings. Do you like when studios do that? I think it can be kind of cool. They do it a lot with 2B. There's a ton of different studios that make statues of her as different things and different outfits, and I think it's cool, especially if you like the character a lot. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. I appreciate you watching this video. Don't forget to like, consider subscribing if you would like to see more, and I will see you guys in the next Figure Friday.